Hi there everyone, and welcome back to this lessons of multiplication. And in this lesson we are going to have a look at the product of two binomials. Now, what is a product of two binomials? This is when a single term has two pairs of brackets, and inside each bracket there are two terms. Okay, so let's have a look at this example here. Now we've got one term, and inside this entire term we've got two pairs of brackets, and inside this bracket there's two terms, and inside this bracket there's two terms. Okay, so this is a product of two binomials. Now there are three kinds, and to be able to solve them quickly you must identify them quickly so that you can apply the recipe for each one. Okay, this is what we call a normal product of two binomials, because we can see it's one term. In this one term there are two pairs of brackets, and in that bracket there's two terms and there's two terms. Okay, then we get the second kind, which is only one bracket, okay, with two terms inside, but it's to the power of 2. Okay, and then the third kind is when we have two brackets or two pairs of brackets with two terms in this one and two terms in that one, but hang on, they are almost identical. There's a 3a, there's a 3a, there's a 2b, there's a 2b, but only the signs differ. So when two brackets are identical, but only the signs between the terms in either these brackets are different, well, then we can apply a different recipe a quick way. So please accustom yourself to these different ones, and then I'll show you how each one works. Now let's try the first kind. Now we have 2a plus b, a minus 3b. Well, this is one term, and in this entire term we've got two pairs of brackets with two terms and two terms. It's a product of two binomials, and it's the first kind. So what's the recipe? We're going to take the first term in the first bracket and we're going to multiply it with the first term in the second bracket. So basically, I'm going to mark this one with green. We are going to multiply those two. Okay, then we are going to take the first one and we're going to multiply it with the second one in the second bracket. So the first one in this first bracket multiplied with the second one in the second bracket. So I'm going to mark that in blue. So there we go. Okay, and then we are going to go and we are going to take the second one in the first bracket and we're going to multiply it with the first one in the second bracket. So the second times the first, and that's going to look like this in red. Okay, and then last one, and I'll mark that in yellow, no, in purple for you. So the purple one is the second with the second. Okay, so let's do this, and we will take the first times the first, and a 2a times a, that will give me 2a squared. And then we will take the first times the second, the first times the second. So a 2a times a minus 3b, it's a positive with a negative, will give me a negative. And then we will take the 2 times the 3, that will give me 6. And then if we take a times a b, we will get a b, right? Okay, then what's the next step? The second with the first. So a plus b times a, it's a positive with a positive, that is a positive. And then we will have b times a, that is ba, or I can write it as ab, doesn't matter which one comes first. I write it like this again in alphabetical order, because then it's always easy to see which terms are alike. And then last one is second and second, so the plus b times a minus 3b, so a positive with a negative. When we multiply that, it gives me a negative, and then b times 3b will give me 3b squared. Okay, now not done yet, because now we did the multiplication part of Botma, so adding and subtracting left. There's not a friend for 2a, not a term that is alike. So I'm going to leave the 2a squared, and then here we have minus 6ab plus ab, and they are like terms, so that one is alike with that one, and then minus 6 plus 1, that gives me minus 5ab, and then we are left with the minus 3b squared right here at the end. And we are done. So let's go and try the second kind. Now in this second type of product of two binomials, we are going to have a bracket that has two terms with an exponent to the power of 2 on the outside. Okay, and just to show you quickly, that basically means the same as a minus 6 times a minus 6. Okay, it's not the same as the third kind, even though they're exactly alike. The signs are also alike, so we can't use these steps. We are just going to work from this because you are going to have to learn how to do this quickly. So let's do this. First with first. So the first one with the first one. So a times a. That gives me a squared. Okay. Then we are going to go first times the second times a 2. That is so important. So we're going to take the first times the second. So a times minus 6 is minus 6a times a 2 becomes minus 12a. Okay. So a times minus 6 is minus 6a times a 2, which gives me minus 12a. And then we have minus 6 times minus 6, which is second with the second, which gives me plus 36. And I am done. And if you want to see if you are correct, you can do this one the long way like we learned earlier on in this lesson with type 1 and see if you get the same answer. Okay, brilliant. How about the third kind? Now the third kind is when we have the two pairs of brackets with two terms there, two terms there. They're exactly alike except that the signs are different. If they are exactly alike, but only the signs are different. Do you see that there's a minus and there's a plus, but everything else is exactly the same? There's a 3a, there's a 3a, there's a 2b, there's a 2b. Okay, it's just the signs that's different. We can use this recipe. Because both pairs of brackets have the same values inside, but only the signs are different, we can follow the next recipe. First times the first. So 3a times 3a. And I'll show you here in purple. There we go. And that gives me 9a squared. And then we also just go second with second. So 2b times minus 2b. So this one times that one. And that gives me minus 4b squared. And I am done. It's easy, right? So please make sure you know what the differences are between the three kinds and then apply the recipes. Let's go and look at some more examples. Now you go and try these. You know how it works. Pause the video. Once you are done, resume the video and see if you are correct. Now, let's see. How many terms in the sum? Only one term, right? Okay, how do we simplify terms with BODMAS? Can I do something in these brackets? No. In these brackets? No, none at all. Are there powers and roots I can do? No. Division? No. Multiplication? Yes, there has to be because there's brackets. Now, what kind of multiplication? Well, it's a pair of brackets and a pair of brackets. Inside this one there's two terms. Inside that one there's two terms. They're exactly alike, but only the signs are different. So, well, this is type 3 of a product of two binomials. So we can just simply go first times first, second times second, and I am done. So 5a times 5a, that will be 25a squared, and then minus b times plus b will give me minus b squared, right? Because a minus times a plus is a minus. And remember, you are multiplying these, right? Go and look at the recipes. Then number 2. Now we have to simplify this. Is there anything I can do in the brackets? No, none at all. Any powers? Well, I cannot do these powers because there's two terms inside, so I'm not allowed to do that, okay? This is a product of two binomials, the second type. So first times first, first times second times a 2, and second times second. So here we go. Minus a times minus a is a plus a squared. And then we go minus a times minus 3b times 2. So minus a times minus 3b, that is a plus 3ab times 2 is a plus 6ab, okay? And then second with second, minus 3b times minus 3b, that will lead to a plus 9b squared. Okay, and that is all there is to it. How about this one? This is also a product of two binomials. This is the first kind. So we are going to multiply the first with the first with the second with the first, the second with the second, right? Because it's two pairs of brackets, and inside this pair there's two terms, and inside that pair there's also two terms. Okay, so here we go. The first with the first. So that means 4 times 2, that gives me 8. And also a times a, write the a, 4 plus 2 is to the power of 6. And then the first with the second. So a positive with a negative, if we multiply those, it leaves me with a negative. And then also 4 times 5, that gives me 20. And if we take a to the power of 4 times b to the power of 2, it gives me an a to the power of 4, b to the power of 2. Okay, we just put them together because they're different letters. Then we're going to go second with the first. So this is a positive with a positive. It gives me a positive. And then also 3 times 2 is 6. And then when we have b to the power of 3 and a to the power of 2, that will just be a to the power of 2, b to the power of 3. And then I always rewrite it in alphabetical order. Because we're multiplying, it doesn't matter which one comes first. And then lastly, it's the second with the second. And this will be a plus with a minus is a minus. And then 3 times 5 is 15. And then we have b with a b. Write the b and add the exponents, which will be 3 plus 2 is to the power of 5. And we are done. There's nothing here I can add because this is 8a to the power of 6. There's no other a to the power of 6's. That's minus 20a to the power of 4, b to the power of 2. It's not the same as that because that's a to the power of 2, b to the power of 3. And this is minus 15b to the power of 5. So basically I am done. Okay, excellent. You must always make sure after multiplying, if you can add and subtract, and you're only allowed to add and subtract if it's like terms, right? Now for question 4. If we look at this, it's only one term, but when we solve it with BODMAS, there's something I can do in the bracket. So this basically becomes 3a minus 9n, and we leave the square on the outside, right? Because that is a distributive law that's inside the bracket, so I have to do it. And now I'm left with the second kind of product of two binomials. So first with first times second times a 2, and second times second. So let's do that. So 3a times 3a is 9a squared, and then 3a times minus 9n, that is minus 27an times a 2. So it's minus 54an, and then second times second, which will be plus 81n squared. And I am done. Okay, so that is all there is to it. Keep practicing and keep making sure that you follow your math recipe when you get to multiplication, that you know your distributive law and that you also know your product of two binomials. And remember, always start with BODMAS and see if there's anything that you can do. For example, in this one, there was something I could do in these brackets, right? Okay, excellent. See you next time. Bye. This is your host Richard T, and thank you for joining us. Please visit our website mathsa.co.za for free guided exam tutorials.